Okay, welcome to this Revit video lecture 2. In this video, we are going to be talking about the Revit interface, right? You want to understand the Revit interface and how to navigate the interface, because that's very important. If you must make your designs easily, you have to understand how the Revit interface works. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover in this video. So let's get started right away. So if you open Revit for the first time, if you install Revit for the first time and you open it, this is how it is going to be. All right, I have Revit 2017 version here. I also have Revit 2022 version. All right, so for the sake of this tutorial, I'm using Revit 2017 version because it has lower space. All right, I think it is just 3.4 GB or 3.5 GB if you download it. All right, but this 2022 version is around more than 10 GB in size. All right, so you can download any of them. I think I'll be sending 2017 version and maybe 2021 or 2022 version to your email, so you can download any of them depending on your system capacity and the storage space you have, and of course how much data you have as well. So this is Revit 2017 interface. They mostly have the same interface from 2015, I think, till 2022 or 23. Almost the same interface, just little differences here and there. So if you are using a lower version, it doesn't matter, right? It is the same interface that you're going to be working with. All right, so that doesn't matter. So it although like I said, little differences, like Revit 2021 or 2022 version does not have this first interface, is not like this. It is a little bit different. All right, so but then the same tools, right, and the same functions is what we have. All right, so you can use any of them for the tutorial. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is how it works. The interface looks like when you install Revit initially. So this is the class project that we are using for this tutorial, so that is why it is here. So when you install Revit newly, you just have this sample architecture, sample structure, and sample systems project. Now Revit is very, very broad. All right, Revit is broad. Revit has the architecture part, right? That's why we call it Revit architecture. Revit also has the structure part, right, for structural designs. Yeah, they call it Revit structure. Revit also has what they call Revit MEP. That is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. All right, that is what is here. So these are just templates for the three of them. All right, so this is architecture part of Revit. This is the structure part of Revit. The structure part of Revit is just like Proto Structure or Orion that we use for structural design. Right, it helps you analyze your structure. It helps you design the reinforcements and do the detailing. So if you are doing Revit architecture, it is easy for you to just import a Revit structure and do your structural design, and also import the Revit MEP to do your electrical and mechanical drawings as well. So Revit is really, really broad. Just like AutoCAD. You know, in AutoCAD, you can use AutoCAD for architecture, you can use AutoCAD for electrical, you can use AutoCAD for plumbing or mechanical, right? So that is the same way. But Revit is quite easier because, of course, it is more advanced than AutoCAD. All right, so what I'm focusing on is Revit architecture. So myself, I use Revit for architectural designs, and then I use Proto Structure for structural design because Proto Structure is really robust. The tools you have in Proto Structure is more advanced than what you have in Revit structure. You understand? Revit structure just has basic is more basic, so to say, but Proto Structure is more advanced. So that is why I prefer Proto Structure for my structural designs. But Revit is good when it comes to architectural modeling. All right, so Revit MEP is another aspect that is for electrical engineers that are wanting to design. You know, when you are designing a high-rise structure or a big structure, you need to do the electrical plans, your AC layouts, your lightings, your socketings, and everything. So Revit MEP helps you do that. All right, so that is what we have here. Then now under that, we have what we call families. All right, families are custom custom tools or custom components that you can create. Take for example, I can create a custom chair, I can create a custom table, I can create a custom gate, I can create a custom light, anything, right? So this is a sample architecture family. All right, so with these families are divided into categories, so you can create custom whatever, right? The same thing applies for structure, right? You can create custom truss, you can create custom structural members in your Revit structure. The same thing applies for Revit MEP, right? So Revit has defaults and it has custom, so you can create custom whatever you want to create, right? So this is for families, but we're not going to be talking much about this. So now, if you want to create a new project in Revit, you simply click on, either you click on new or you click on any of these templates, depending on what you want to do. But if I want to create a new project, I simply click on new. So when I click on new, it's going to ask me to choose the templates that I want to use. Definitely I want to use an architectural template because it is an architectural design that I want to do. So I'm going to click on architectural templates and I'm going to check this is project, and I'm going to click on OK, right? So if I click on OK, it is going to open a brand new project interface for me to start working. All right, so let's allow it to load. Yes, so this is what you are going to have when you open Revit for the first time. Sometimes it might not be exactly like this, but I'm going to show you how it might look when you open Revit for the first time. All right, so this is your interface. All right, above you have what we call tabs. All right, tabs. So these are your tabs. You have the architecture tab, you have the structure tab, you have the systems tab, just like we saw in the previous slide. The architecture part of Revit, this is where you can do your architectural designs. All about your architectural designs is contained here. And then the structure, all about your structural design is contained here. You can see your beam, your wall, your floor, your connection, your footing. This is for foundation, your slab, your rebar. So all about your structural design is contained here. You can see it is limited. It is limited, so to say, compared to proto structures, right? So, and then you have your systems. This is for your MEP, which means mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So you can have your ducts, your mechanical equipment, fabrication parts, your pipe, all about your electrical, mechanical, and structural design is contained here. You can see your wire, your cable tray, conduit, and everything, right? So this is about your systems, MEP. So these are other tools that you have in Revit, right? You can link AutoCAD into Revit. You can import AutoCAD into Revit. You can do other things. You can annotate. This is for your dimensions. If you want to run the dimensions or your tests, or if you want to tag members, if you want to analyze, this is your analysis. This is also useful for MEP, especially for electrical analysis. All right. So this is the massing on site. You can use this to create advanced or curved shapes. Okay, you can create curved roofs, curved walls, curved floors, whatever. You can create your landscaping from here. And then you have your collaboration. This is where you can collaborate with of course Revit, even AutoCAD also has this collaboration tool, such that if you are working in a team or in a company, you can share your designs with other architects or other engineers in your company's team, and they will be seeing the project live as you are working on it, right? So this is collaboration. This is view. This is where you can see other where you can view different aspects of your project, like your plan views, your elevation. You can also modify your views from here as well, right? Now you go to manage. This is where you can change some parameters like your units, your materials, and other things, right? Add-ins. Now Revit also has a feature that can allow you to add what they call plugins, right? There are several plugins, or you can call them softwares, external softwares that you can actually input into Revit. Take for example, there's one soft plugin or add-in that is called the block plugin. That plugin helps you to import components, all right, into Revit, like your chairs, your tables, whatever. So you can install external plugins into Revit and make use of them as well. Some of these plugins are free, some are paid, right? So here you have your modify tab, all right? That's where you can trim, you can copy, you can move, you can mirror, you can modify your drawings from here. So in the course of the tutorials, we are going to be using some of all these important tools, right? So now after the tabs, we move on to this properties panel. This is what we call the properties panel. Okay, so if you click on any tool here, the properties of that tool will appear here. Take for example, you click on walls. Okay, the properties of wall will appear here and you can do the editing, right? These are the properties. This is the basic wall that Revit has, default types of walls, so you can use any of them or you can edit and create your own. We don't want to go into much details in this video. In subsequent videos, we are going to go into details about how you can actually edit your components, right? So if you click on any tab, the material of the properties of that tab will appear here. So this is the properties of the wall. So the location line, the base constraint of the wall, the top constraint of the wall, and other properties. So this is the properties tab. If you click on doors as well, the properties of doors is going to appear under this panel, all right, under this panel. So these are the properties of the doors, your seal heights, your frame type, and everything. So you can edit your type, edit it also if you wish. So now after the properties panel, we move on to the project browser. Okay, this is the project browser. This is the place where everything about your project, where you can navigate all about your project. Like you can see, we have default levels, right? Under the floor plans, we have level 1 and level 2. These are defaults. You can edit, you can create more if you wish. These are ceiling plans, these are elevations. If I make a drawing and create a section, I can see the section also here. So I can see legends, I can see the schedules and quantities of my project. I can see the sheets. If I want to create title blocks, I can create it from here. I can create more families. Yeah, so this is project browser, all right? So now this is your workspace, right? This is what you call your workspace, your Revit workspace. So basically you have 4 parts in Revit. The tabs, which is this, right? The properties panel, which is this, the project browser, which is this, and then your workspace, which is this. Now if you open Revit for the first time, sometimes your project browser might be under your properties panel. Okay, you might find your project browser here and you might be confused and like, where is my properties or project browser? So it can appear here. So you can move, it is movable, they are not fixed. You can even move your properties browser to come here. Just move it and place it here. Just move it. Sorry. Yeah, so you can move it and just place it here. So you can move it however you wish, right? You can move it however you wish, but I prefer my properties to be here. I prefer my properties to be here and my project browser to be here. All right, my project browser to be here. So So I love it like this. Okay, so this is how you can navigate your project. So if you don't find your project browser, you can either move it from here or here, or if you don't find it at all here, if you don't find it at all on your screen, you can simply go to view. All right, go to view and then go to user interface. This is user interface, and then you can simply check it. You can see this is properties. If I turn it off, it is going to go, right? It is going to go. So but if I come back under view and under user interface and I turn back on the properties, it is going to come back. All right, so under user interface, you can turn off and turn on your properties panel or your project browser. All right, so that is it for that. Now when it comes to the workspace, let me move this properly. Let me set this properly. Okay, so when it comes to your workspace, right, you can, if you don't want to, these are the projects I've done in the past before. So any project you do in Revit, you can always find it here, so you can always navigate. These are projects I've done, so you can always navigate them. So if you go to file here, if you click on this Revit icon here and you click on options, right, if you click on options, you can set how you want Revit to remind you to save your work. All right, to save your work. So you can set it to remind you every 30 minutes to save your work, or every 15 minutes, or every 1 hour. All right, so you can set that here, and then under user interface, you can turn on or off anything, right? You can turn off the structure tab, right? You can see this is the architectural tab and tools. This is the structure tab and tools. This is system tabs and tools. The system for mechanical, system for electrical, system for piping, which is also plumbing, massing and site. So all these tabs you have here, you can actually turn them on or off, right? Take for example, I want this to be less congested, so I can turn off my structure tab. I turn off my, let me turn this off. Okay, turn this off and then click on OK. So what happens is that all those tabs have gone. Structure, systems, they have all gone. So I can turn them on or off as per my wish under user interface right here. So let me turn them on back. So active theme, if I want to operate under dark mode, right? So this is the much dark mode that the whole screen will not become dark, only this will become dark, as you can see, right? As you can see, Revit has not updated. I don't know if I think maybe probably 2022 version might have a full dark mode screen. But if I really want my screen to be dark, like AutoCAD, sometimes I can go to graphics and I can change this my background to become black, right? If I don't, because of my eyes, I don't want to use light screen, I can just come to graphics here and change this color to be black and then click on OK. So what happens is that only my workspace will become black. Can you see? So, and it will be more like AutoCAD. You know, AutoCAD is usually black. So when you create any drawing, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this. Alright, so I normally prefer white screen. So I'll go back to options and I'm going to go to graphics, and my background, I'm going to make it white. Yeah, and under my user interface, light screen. Alright, so this is how you can navigate through. Right, you can navigate through. As you can see, I just created walls here randomly. Right, I just created walls randomly, so you can add those windows, components, anything on your user interface. Now, these four things you see here, you can see these four icons here. They are called the elevation icons. Right, the elevation icons. So you can quickly see the elevation. That is the north elevation. You can see north elevation. This should be the south elevation, right? This should be the east elevation, that's correct, and then this one should be the west elevation. So these are quick icons that you can use to view your elevations, right? So basically this is all about the Revit interface. So we are going to be working under the architecture tab majorly. So under the architecture tab, we'll have the walls, the windows, the doors, the components, the columns, the roof, the ceiling, the floor, the curtain system, the railings, the step, and the rooms, the tests. So a lot of tools that we are going to work with in Revit right here. Right, so this is basically the user interface. So in the next videos, we are going to be talking about how we can be using these tools one after the other. Of course, learning is a never-ending process, so definitely it is not possible for me to cover all the tools we have in Revit, right? But then I'm sure I'm going to cover more than 90% of them. So as you practice and practice, you're going to be discovering more functions and how to make your drawings easier and faster for you, right? So I'm going to end this video here, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Thank you.